well this Thursday, the 12th of March. Look, guys, the shows this week have been a little bit sporadic, but that's what happens when you work. This camera is already going to do my head in. But that is what happens when you've got a full-time job and you're trying to do this as well. So look, guys, I hope we're all doing extremely well. I mean, there is a lot to get through this evening as well. So look, this is a early late show with me, JB. So look, get into this amazing community. Scott is already in the house, one of the most amazing moderators on this channel, absolute legend, and a big up to Scott. Massive support. And the first thing to say is, look, get into this amazing community. I will say this, never gets boring. This is the best community on this platform, hands down. Look, the only thing that we ask is, look, let's be respectful to each other, be respectful to me, be respectful to yourselves. Otherwise, the banhammer comes out. I don't like doing it. Scott loves to bring up the banhammer, but look, we don't like doing it. It is all about respect on this channel. You give your opinion, I give mine. I don't think necessarily that you're wrong. And if you come on and you give me your opinion, I would give you my opinion. Doesn't mean that my opinion's better than yours. We just have differing views. And look, I'm not a dictator of this chat. I really do read out your views and opinions. And yeah, look, let's get into this. I am just going to move my light because I can see it shining in my eyeballs and it is doing my head in. That's better. So look, guys, there's lots and lots to get into. United are never boring. This is the Aston Villa, well, the United versus Aston Villa the preview, like we always do. We always get into it. We always talk about, or we always say what we're gonna talk about, and then let's see if this team will do exactly that or opposite to that. Scott says the CR7 semi-final shirt. Yeah, I love this shirt. This is where we absolutely tore them a new one as well. So fantastic kit. So look, get into the chat tonight. I want to hear what you've been hearing. I want to know what you've been hearing on the streets. One thing I am going to bring into a show, I am going to do a afternoon show. We are boring on the pitch, to be honest, says Sully. I'm going to bring in something to the show, not tonight, but it's going to be called the Can We Afford It meter, right? So I know, and I'm not going to lie, I've seen. I get sent things all of the time. I've seen the hotter meter. We're gonna do on here the Can We Afford It meter. What we're gonna do this transfer window is we're gonna beat away the shit. We know the numbers. I've got the numbers, and we're gonna do it. Or I'm gonna put up here a Can We Afford It meter. Let's see. I'm so sad the one week I go out to dinner and my grandparents United play Villa. Well, Mother's Day. So look, I won't be doing a live for the match. I will be doing a match reaction in the evening time, but I won't be streaming the game. I am going to watch the game, but I won't be doing a watch along because my mum and my children's mum will kill me. So yeah, no, I will put up the chat, and yeah, but I'm I'm not going to be involved. I'm gutted. The one day, look, I would give up a Father's Day. I would happily give up a Father's Day to go and watch the match. That would be my Father's Day. As I try to point out to the missus, she's not my mum. That doesn't go down well. No, I'm kidding. So look, yeah. So I'm going to be watching the game, but I'll do my match reaction afterwards. Look, Villa are playing tonight. Look, before we go into the game, look, the one thing to say is this: Aston Villa played tonight. Now, how much more? Not luck, because luck is the wrong word, right? It's not luck that Aston Villa are in the Europa League or in European competition, that isn't luck. We are very, very fortunate, in my view. And look, and there can be no excuses. I want to start off the show, and the reason why I put Bruno Fernandes on the thumbnail is this. Look, I want Bruno Fernandes. Pete is in the house. What's up, JB? What's up, Pete? I hope you're doing it extremely well, my friend. Look, I want Bruno Fernandes to step up. I know that I've been going on about it, but take it as a compliment to Bruno. Take it as a compliment that I expect more. I expect more from a fantastic player. Now, I've put him on the thumbnail because this is where he needs to step up. So Darshan says Carrick just needs to sharpen his blades. Look, Carrick, and again, before we go through this game, look, now is the time. We've got to start sharp. The one thing I don't want to do now, between now and start of the game, is look, I'm not going to bring this down, right? The talk of the talk of our break, and we can talk about the play. Look, now the players have to perform, and now this is about getting behind the players, and we do need that top four, Scott. There are so many things here. This is a 6-pointer. This game is so important. We need top four. And I'm going to keep banging on about it because we have run the figures. We need top four. So this game is pivotal. And look, I tell you one thing that impressed me about Carrick, right? I'm still of this opinion that Carrick, look, let's not give Carrick the job just yet. Carrick doesn't need the job. Nikarutsu is in the house. Pivot. As always, my friend Bruno is at his stage in his career like Rooney. In a sense, he has to prove he is elite, not any... And look, and Darshan, mate, if you've seen any of my posts, any of the comments that I've made, look, people call me out, even people that watch the show have called me out. Look, I have an opinion on it. Bruno Fernandes has to step up. Look, Bruno Fernandes is on the decline. I'm not going to make this the Bruno show, right? But whether people like this or not, this is not on him. But a large part of this is he is the captain, Carrick is the coach. These two together, because let's be fair here, these two players together, this manager, this player, have to come together to find a way to win this game. And as we've just said there, Peter said, look, we're at home, so we've got to make the advantage count. Look, what we don't want to see now is we don't want to see this team capitulate. No, look, we've had another big break. Is Aston Villa playing on a Thursday and we've had all this time off? Look, this has been probably one of the most embarrassing couple of weeks. And the reason why it is because, look, we're off a back of a performance that wasn't great. Then we lost to the Geordies. We've not played particularly well for 4 games. We've had a week off. And look, the reason why we've had a week off is because we're not in the FA Cup. Like it is this week for me. And look, for me this week has been shit, right? Work has been awful this week. Work has been really, really hard this week. Off the back of a shitty result. Going into a work week and a half that's been absolutely mad. I've not had time to stream. I've not had time to do a lot, really. It's been crap. Like, I want us to win. So, look, this is a must win. Look, if Carrick is going to show his credentials, what is Carrick going to do to get these players up? Like, whether I like it or whether people do or not, there has to be a way to get these players up. So look, I am hoping that Carrick can get these players up, get these players on form. Look, we've got players coming back. I see it like when they're on that pitch. Let's see. But look, it's gonna be an interesting weekend. I'm gonna go through the chats. Pete says, Pete, what's up, JB? Villa are kind of arse at the moment. Yes, they are. Sorry, mate, I missed that chat at the beginning. Before the Champions League games, we were saying performances weren't good. Now there is possibly no fifth spot. Even more important for us to turn up. Exactly, Sully. And one of the things that I said, and people always dismiss me on this, is as much as a win is good, and it is, and we seem to pull out to pull these wins out of our arse at times, right? As Tazza says, glory to Man United. Performance as much as wins are key, because even when if you can bust out a performance, look, people are going to have a bad game. You look at City, Champions League, absolutely destroyed, right? You can have an off game, right? Even though they've probably been like that for most of the season, to be fair. They've not been great, right? We've consistently got worse and worse and worse, and this is what happened at the beginning of the season. If we have another December, but in the next couple of weeks, that top four is done. So this is why this game is so important. And Sully, you're right. That fifth spot that we thought that we were going to get, that fifth spot is probably not going to be up for grabs. So it is top four. It is more important than ever for us to get top four. Want to beat Villa, we drop Bruno. And look, calling it now, Bruno's going to get a red. Look, Pete, I'm going to let you guys bring in the Bruno debate, and I'll read out the chat. I've already had my say on it. I think it's obvious how I feel about him, but look, and again, look, I want more than Bruno Fernandes to have the best game of the season. I would love him to have his best game. Look, I get told that is hate, right? It is not hate. With me, Bruno Fernandes is our captain. I look to him. People have to look to him. And I want him to succeed. I want him to inspire this team. I want him to be the leader. I want him to be the player of the season. I want him to be in the Premier League team of the season. I want our players to be the best. So look, let's see if that can happen. Nicaragua says United can't just be waiting to go a goal down before reacting. Villa are a tough, compact side, and we will go through that as well. Pete says not as embarrassing as Tottenham. Look, Pete, mate, nothing is going to look, and big up to Spurs fans. This is nothing against Spurs, by the way. Look, absolutely nothing against Spurs. Pete, look, we are. Is it a blessing in disguise? I want to ask you guys tonight. Is it a blessing in disguise that we didn't get the Champions League? Because if we'd have got the Champions League with this squad, would we be like Spurs? And that maybe is probably the thing here is was last season a blessing? Because I can't imagine us with the way that we played during the first part of the season, with the players that we've got, would we be in the same position as Spurs? That's all I'm saying. But Pete, mate, look, I take no joy, even though I'm smiling, I take no joy in watching Spurs do Spurs things. I still think Spurs are too good. Same JB, my work has been, mate, it has been absolute crazy. I've got a good job that I've got to do. I'm training for 100k, so I'm going to do a 100k run for a hospital for children's cancer. So I will be putting a link in some of the videos. But look, don't people. Look, if people want to sponsor, that's great. But it's more about getting awareness out there. So I'm going to be doing 100K run for a hospital. So let's see how that goes. City got blown away by Madrid. JB, we just need you full time. Look, mate, I would love it, mate. If I could do this full time, I promise you, you'd be getting at least three shows a day. If I could just get this full time, my friend, it would dramatically change the way that I do things, mate. I see the game finishing as a draw. VAR will ruin it. Hi, I support. You support the Toffees and think you'll get first by the end of the season, and I think Arsenal will bottle it. Look, mate, Ocha, mate, Ocha, I love that comment. One of the things that I do love on this channel is look, just because I don't agree, look, it is. I'll always say this: you guys in the chat, look. If you're gonna put as much crazy talk out there, I love it. I know I can be a little bit of a miserable git, right? I get that. But look, your comments, a lot of that, actually, mate, I love it. I would love us to be first, but Pete says much rather JB than that Andy Goldstein. If you get opportunities, yeah, we absolutely have to. The Valverde show. I mean, look, if people, again, I'm not here to tell people who and what to think. But Valverde, if you're looking for a leader, tackler, driven, scores goals, changes a game, if you want to look at a midfielder who does that, look, that's all I'm saying. Arsenal said that last year. Danny is in the house. Absolute legend is Danny. Darshan says, I hope Arsenal are Champions League already. It is true the league is corrupt. Nicaroo says, Bruno doesn't step up when we need him. He just flaps his arms, fights over who takes the penalty. Chelsea's the same with PSG. Spurs are done. To dare is to Scott. Sky Rune says, hi, hello. Is it odd that I want Pogba back at United? Look, it's not odd, but I mean, look, Pogba is like 34. Look, Pogba, look, I want Roy Keane back. It's not odd at all. Look, I'd love Roy Keane back. Doesn't mean to say that you're wrong because you want your favourite players back, right? Swiss cheese. Scott. Legend. Scott's gifted a membership. Look, Scott, absolute legendary Scotty. Thank you, my friend. Gifted Nikarutsu a membership. Look, guys, absolutely, when you guys do that, and Scott, like, mate, you know you're a legend. Absolute legend. Bruno isn't level with Val, though he's a different level. Sky is in the house, absolute legend. So look, before I get into the Villas, Addy says Anderson coming to United. Do I think? No, I don't. And look, I am going to do a show. And what I'm going to do is the transfer, because I've been thinking about, look, what sort of shows do I need to do? And look, I do want to do a transfer show, right? But I don't want to do a transfer show for clicks, because I don't believe in putting content out there, rightly or wrongly for me. I don't believe that you need to put in content. And look, it gets clicks and clicks and clicks, but it's just something that I'm not comfortable to do. So I'm going to do a transfer show that is different. It's going to be, can we afford it? I'm going to make a can we afford it a meter. Not what are the percentages. Are we super hot that this player is going to join. You know, are we? Scott is on it tonight. I mean, Scott is on it tonight, mate. Scott is just dishing him out. Scott is a legend. Look, thank you, buddy. Absolute, just, mate. Well, what can I say? Scott, absolute legend of the highest order, buddy. Yeah, mate, you just awesome. This kit was so good. Yeah, I mean, I've got so many kits right now. It is crazy. Scott is smashing it up. Scott's an absolute legend. Let's get back to the chat. So what are we saying here? So look, I'm going to do a transfer show. I'm going to do one tomorrow. I just need to put finishing things to the can we afford it meter. I'm not going to go down the lines of, can we, afford, not a percentage wise, am I 30% that an Anderson can come? We are budget FC, right? It's going to be, can we afford it FC, right? And if we can afford it, then what that means is that instead of a percentage of whether we can afford it or not, we make this club accountable. Because what that means is that if we can afford to get these players, then why don't the fuck we go and get these players? This is the shows that I want to. I'm not gonna sit here and spam you guys with a load of bollocks. It's gonna be, can we afford to sign them? This is from the age of 16 to 35, I believed. Cheaters will sign Anderson. Yes, they will. Top mod for a reason. Scott is a top mod, absolute legend. Rooney was a proper servant to the club. I hope Lacey gives us that same treatment to the fans. And look, Lacey has been injured as well. Look, just to say this, Lacey has been injured, and look, Lacey has got to come back. Forest are 1-0 down. Sadash says the English League CEO, or some said that they want a new winner in this year. So Arsenal in line. Is that fit? Look, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Look, I've got to allege, look, do I think there is cheating happening? I'd have to allege, I think it's very suspect. I'm alleging it. Probably not true, wink, wink. I'm alleging that there is something, there. The other thing I wanted to mention as well, look, we've got time tonight. The other thing I wanted to mention before we go into the game is this. I don't know whether you've seen this. But apparently United are having to change the stadium plans. So the circus tent, and I thought I would bring this in. So the circus tent that United showed to the world, and at the time, look, the reason expose. Look, we could do an expose. Look, you guys can say what you like in the chat. I'll just prefix it with allegedly. So I don't know whether you guys have seen this. Look, this club again has been caught out fucking spinning again, hasn't it? This club has been caught out spinning. Look, we on this channel know about the financial stuff, right? Nothing catches us out on this channel because we go through it. You guys are intelligent, you're smart, you've been here with me. We go through the numbers. We don't take the bullshit. So this week it's been announced, look, that United's stadium planned. Pete says, I'm off to bed. Have a good night, dude. Look, Pete, legend, and think you're a legend, buddy. So look, have a good night, my friend. Do you think City should be getting punished for the 115 because Everton and Leicester was caught about 10 charges? So look, do I think that they should be punished? This is where I'm at on it, right? Is that, do I think cheat should be punished? Yes. Okay. If City have been caught cheating, should they be punished? Yes. Right. But to me, it's inconsequential because even if they are caught, what does it mean for my club? Do I want a Premier League back to us we didn't win it. No. You know, like if City had been caught out, then City need to take the consequences. In that instance, I feel sorry for the fans. And look, people can say what they but look, I feel sorry for the fans. Look, this football is all about banter, right? It's all about banter FC, right? And look, without the banter, this game is what? Crap, right? At the end of the day, us fans have no control over what we do at the club, at our clubs, right? If City fans because they'll get screwed over as well, is it their fault? No. And it's always the fans that get punished. You look at Spurs. If Spurs go down, is it it's always the fans that get hit. So should they be charged? Yes. But for me, there is nobody that wins out of that. There's nobody that wins. It's just a massive look, the Premier League cannot come back. If City through those years have been caught cooking the books, right, then punishments have to happen. What those punishments are, but look, again, I see it as nothing to do with me, because I want us not to be focusing on other stuff. I want us to be focusing on winning a league. I want us to focus on trying to get into the Champions League. So if City do get done, we can look down and say, well, look, we are focusing on this now. I've never been comfortable in trying to take advantage from someone else's downfall. That's just not my style. Scott is on it tonight. I mean, Scott is absolutely on it tonight. Scott is just, and I'm back. Scott is on it tonight. Scott is just smashing it up. Scott is just annihilating it. Scott is an absolute legend. Scott clearly wants me to do this full time. So look, Scott, absolute legend, my friend. Hopefully I'm back. Am I back? I think so. Absolute legend. So look, Scott, mate, legend. What can I say, buddy? Absolute legend. Let's have a look. I don't know how to do it. I don't actually know how you do it. How do you do it? How do you actually do it? Because I will. How do you actually do it? Because I will. The $ at the bottom of your screen. I can't do it. I can't do it, mate. Scott is making me look bad, man. I need to be all over this because he is right. How the hell do I do it? I can't, mate. I can't do it. I can't do it. I really want to give it some. Here we go. How do I do it? I can't do it. Oh my god, I'm such a honestly, I'm such an old man. I need to figure this out. Hang on. No. I am going to figure this out. I promise you. I don't know. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Mate, I literally, there is nothing on my thing to do it, mate. Trust me. I will. I promise. I will give them out. Click on Scott, and it gives you the option. Let's have a look. Chucks me out, man. No, I'll have to. I promise. I will figure this out, and I will give some out tomorrow. I promise you, because I will. I promise. Right. Let's get back through. Let me go through the chats before we start to before I start to have a pop at the club. Let's have a little look. 10 points reduction on Arsenal and City, like Everton. The crazy thing is we shouldn't be this concerned. Let's have a look. Saying. Let's have a look. Definitely. Let's have a look. Even think City bought the trophy multiple times. Look, it wouldn't surprise me. I promise you, as soon as I figure it out, mate. The crazy thing is that we shouldn't be concerned with financials or whether our players are going to and Sully, mate, and that is exactly it, right? As fans, we should never be concerned with the financials. But sadly, at this club, unless we are concerned with the financials, we never get the truth. I learn new terms from the chat. Football should be fair to everyone. Stephen Moore says, do you think you're in no competitions next year can carry next year cope? Stephen, with the squad the way that it is, in my opinion, we're paper thin. We're gonna need we're gonna need at least 4 players. I think we're gonna need at least 5. I don't think that we'll cope next season. Look, we need to be in the Champions League at this stage next season. Scott is a legend, absolute legend. Digsby dinner, Beto's in there. I will be giving up. I promise you. I will figure this out. There are a lot of controversies that we've had with the owner. You should make it full time. Look, thanks, buddy. I really do, mate. I can't, mate. I'm gonna figure this out. Liam is in the house. Beef says, good evening, mate. Hope all is well. I'm very well, Beef. City out of the Champions League. Love the channel. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Click on Scott's and it gives you the option. Yeah, I every time I click on that, it kicks me out. So I'm gonna refrain from doing that for now. Spice says, thanks for the gifted membership. Scott is a legend. Scott is an absolute ledge. Michael Schmeichel says, that's some wild facial hair. No, it is. I mean, my facial hair is absolutely it is my hair in general. My facial hair is just absolute crazy. It literally is just one big mass of hair. We need 7, especially if Ugarte leads. I'd say wild facial hair would be more of a beard. Yeah, it is. Yeah, my facial hair beard is a wonderment. Corruption in all competitions VAR itself can't be blamed for incompetence every time. There are many times we've questioned why VAR didn't intervene or give the correct decision. Liam says, I was watching the City versus Madrid game and realised how much of a step up the Champions League is. We would struggle to get into the knockouts and with our current squad. Well, what are they called? So what are they called? what they called the Norwegian team, Glimt or like whatever they're called. I mean, they are a Norwegian team. It wouldn't surprise me if they went quite far. I don't even think that we're as good as that Norwegian's team. Fantastic team. I'm here, can't even grow a beard. BOB says, hear me out. I prefer Europa. It's winnable and gives us a stepping stone next season to recruit. And look, I don't disagree. I think we need to be in a competition that's going to give us home games. Look, I think United share your view. I don't think Ineos and the Glazers, and in terms of the money, they want to be in the Champions League, but I really don't think they give a shit. There are commitments, by the way. So United, if you don't know, have also sold revenue. So what they've done is they've sold stuff, but they're collecting the money now. We're so skint. It's basically like saying you're gonna buy something for a future date, but you're gonna pay us now for it. That's how skint we are. Spicy says the officiating of football is absolute shambolic, blatant match fixing. I'd also say should be AI should be used in games. That's it. That's them. If YouTube was more futuristic, I'd donate you some of my beard. So Bodo Glimt, yeah, I mean they are ridiculous. They are ridiculous. I hope United get Champions League football because I've had so much heartbreak with the club watching them lose the FA Cup against City and losing the league final in Gdansk. Yes. I hate facial hair, 33 and can't grow a beard or have any chest hair, which doesn't. I mean, look. I've got hairy arms, beard, hairy legs. I've got no chest hair at all. I hope Carrick carries on smashing it for us, gives us top 4. And look, again, I think there is a big test for Carrick. For me, if Carrick can come through the Villa game, it's a tick, right? Unless for me, unless an Enrique is available, unless one of those types of coaches. Look, I would rather a Carrick over a Glasner. I'd rather a Carrick over an Arola. I'd rather Emery over a Carrick. But look, Carrick is in prime position. I think Carrick is going to get the job irrespective. I think United are playing a very, and it's not even a good game, by the way, right? It's not even a clever game. Look, I'm going to keep mentioning this because I thought the show that we did, look, I don't think the show that we did on the numbers got as much love as I wanted it to have. But look, it is there and we can say that we've been through it. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. So I think those of you who want Carrick, and fingers crossed, if Carrick can do an amazing job, I'm still on the fence. It's going to take me until the end of the season to even begin to assess it. But look, how fantastic would it be if Carrick can come back and inspire this team to win? How fantastic would it be for Bruno Fernandes to buck up his ideas and be the captain that we want him to be for like the rest of the season? So Bodo win the Champions League in question. Look, I would have a little cheeky bet on Bodo. I would have a little cheeky bet on him because I've watched them play, and they are a good side. They could be they could be that. They could be that dark horse side. They could be like the Denmark from the '92 the Euros. You know, they could be Greece. You know, they could be that. They could be that team that wins the Champions League. Who are I would love them to win the Champions League. Can't we get back to McTominay in Italy League? Is a Farmers League, so that's why he's playing good there. I think that look, people are always going to have their opinions on it. I think McTominay, do we regret letting him go? Look, I was one of those people that said, look, I think he should go. I think he's proved himself. I think he's made the right move for him. Would he be playing like that in this league for us? I doubt it. And that's not because I think he's a bad player. I think it's we are not, or we weren't the right club for him. Europa would be better for us than we're watching us get battered in Paris. I'm 33 and have no chest out apart from around my nipples. Excellent. Thank you, buddy. I have less hair in chest. More beard. I can barely grow whiskers. Our last few games have been bad. And look, and that's a thing that I wanted to mention as well. When we go through this game and we'll go through how Villa will play, I will give you my concerns. Do you think it is realistic? United, a world-class club, should be beating Villa comfortably, a small team 6-1. And look, Villa are not a small team, and I think this is a misconception, right? Look, I respect the comment. This is why I read out the comments, and if I come back on comments, not because I think you're wrong, it's just because I'll just give you, as you've asked the question. We are not a world-class team right now. We are a big team. We are a bigger brand than an Aston Villa, but Aston Villa are a good side. They've won the European Cup twice. Aston Villa are not a small club. You know, I think that small team tag, I think, now has to change. I think teams have caught up. Do I think that we're a bigger team? Yes. We're not a world-class team. And look, on paper, we should absolutely beat Aston Villa. We should absolutely beat them at home. But what Aston Villa are, they are a well-run, a well-drilled, organised side, coached by, look, Emery gets the piss taken out of him all of the time. But he's a tactical, fantastic coach. What he did at a Seville is no fluke. He is a tactical, fantastic manager. And what he's done with an Aston Villa is ridiculous. In principle, I do agree with you. But practice at the moment, and sadly, I don't think that we're a world-class team. And should we be beating them 6-1? No. The players love Carrick. If you compare how they were with an Amarin, is we'll get into these players at some point again. But look, these players have turned on Ten Hag and Amarin and Ollie. I know some of these players weren't here, and when I say these players, what I mean is that, look, it is infectious. Winning is infectious, and losing is infectious. And this team is, in my view, is just a recycled team. So I think as soon as Carrick, and look, one of the things I was going to mention is that Carrick, I can already see it. Carrick, after the last game, he blanked his players. And went over to the crowd. How long before he starts to get annoyed with these players and these players? You can see it. This coach, Carrick, and look, for me, that was a big tick. To watch him blank his players and walk over to that crowd, for me, is a massive tick. That is what I want from a coach. So look, those are the small things that I see, and you can tell. You can tell if Carrick gets this job, the gloves will be off. United have a world-class history, but they are far from world-class. We've gone from facial hair to this is what we do on this channel. This is a later show. Look, we're going to go through the game, but this is the beauty of this channel. Anything goes within a reason. There is a Manchester channel, Manchester United, Manchester spicy chicken, perfect, mate. That is quality. What about women's chest hair? Do women get chest hair? I mean, I say it like, I don't have a wife. I've never noticed any. This is a football channel, guys. Calm down. Rambo Walters in the house. We will win. Look, Rambo is in the house. I hope you are doing extremely well. Shang says, what do you think about Valverde hat-trick? A stunning hat-trick. Stunning, absolute. What a, just ridiculous. What an absolute, as a performance, what a performance. And look, this is not just aimed at Bruno, right? Any centre midfielder, any free role, any captain, any midfield player, free role player who you're a captain in your team, right? You need to be watching what he did against one of the supposed best teams in the world. You watch what he did. That hat-trick was sublime. He set down this season after those goals. He set a marker. And he's announced himself. And look, I knew he was a fantastic player. Scott on here bangs on about him all of the time. He put a marker down and said, I am the best midfielder in the world. If you want to tackle, I can tackle. If you want to run, I can run. If you want me to track back, I can. If you want me to score goals. Stunning hat-trick. I can't breathe. Heavy blood. I'll let you guys go through it. I'll let you guys go through it. Rambo says, trust me, we will win 2-0. 100% United is miles better than Villa as a club. Current form, we're not better. And I would agree. I would agree with bigger. I think we have to be very careful when we use terms like better, right? What makes us better? And that's just my question here. Is look, I think for me, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, and that is you're right. Right now, I think we are a bigger team. Do I think we're better? In what aspects are we better? Do we have better owners? Do we have a better ground? Do we have players that are better? Do we have a better team? 100% we are a bigger team, but it doesn't mean to say that we are better. And Boomer and Chess go to score, mate. I'm liking this. The discussions and the comment section are not sinking. My Twitch name is Jesus Christ. I told you a few months ago we are on the up. Honestly, watch out because we are making top 4 and next season we're going to be stronger. And look, Rambo, I love it, mate. Look, I love it. Look, are we on the up to where we were? Yes. Our performances haven't been good though. Let's be pragmatic before we go through the game. Let's be pragmatic and bring it back, because I think we need to take stock of, I think, where we are. I'm hoping I'm hoping the last couple of games have just been a blip, and now we can push on. Because look, Rambo, look, I would love you to be right. I think we need to push forward. I think I'm hoping this break, Carrick has been able to get into these players, and I'm hoping that this can be the next phase of we can push on again. But look, we're gonna see. Verde is good, but he's not. Rambo, I think that's an interesting comment. So Rambo says Valverde is good, but he's not Bruno's level, in my opinion. And look, Rambo, there's nothing wrong in having that opinion. I'm never going to say you're wrong. I don't agree, but it doesn't mean to say that you're wrong. I think that's a fascinating opinion to have. I don't share it, but Deborah trying his hardest to find a comment related to football. I am. How's your favourite Man U player? Who's your favourite Man U player? I don't really do favourites. I don't really do favourites. But if I had to pick a player that I like the most, it would have to be somebody like Ahmad. I like Ahmad. I like the Butcher. Delict before he was injured. Shesko as well. You do try to put me on my best game. It don't take much to make me laugh. It's true. Has Glimt had a better season than United? Have Bodo Glimt had a? I mean, look. That's a difficult thing to quantify, but but I'm not gonna hide away from the question. I don't know too much about the Norwegian league, so I can't comment too much on that and the prestige of the Norwegian league. But look, if we are judging a season on European, then Bodo Glimt have had a better season. I don't know where they finish in their league, so I can't comment on that. But Bodo Glimt are a fantastic team. So I would argue that it's a serious debate that Bodo Glimt have had a better season than us. I think as a comment, I think that's a fantastic comment. If we don't make top four, it would be due to the fact that United are all playing at least twice a week. As an example, Villa have played 47 games, 31. I think. Look, I think that's a great comment, right? It shouldn't be an excuse. You can argue this, right? You can argue that you only get fitter and better as a side by playing games, right? You have to play games to get the fitness, the sharpness. You do play better as a team. But my argument against that is that these are professional players that play week in, week out, right? I would agree on the fact that, for example, Aston Villa have got more game time. But we should be fit. Like we should be at them. We've got one game a week. But look, I'm not. Look, and I'm not saying that this is your excuse. I'm not buying it for me as an excuse that because we play one game a week, we're a worse team. I disagree. I think we should be a better team. Aston Villa played tonight. They're going to play on a Sunday. We've not played for well over a week. So Aston Villa should be nowhere near as sharp as we are. So we should be sharp. We should be coming out of those blocks. But maybe you do have a point. But look, I think there is no excuse for us not to at least be on par with Aston Villa. I think if Sheska gets a run of starts, he gets his hat-trick. Teams are starting to worry about us after only 9 games of Carrick being in charge. I feel something is coming. And look, Rambo, again, my friend, I think as a comment, look, that's your view. Mate, I've got to disagree, mate. Rambo, the last 4 games, I don't know if you've watched the games. Look, maybe you and I watch games in a different way. No one's scared of us, mate. Nobody's scared of us. The fear factor, and if you watch the last 4 games, we've not been good, mate. We have not been good. Look, if we'd have won the last 4 games, or let's just say we'd have lost 2-1 because it was a penalty and we were both playing extremely well, but they just got a penalty, fine. Newcastle outplayed us with 10 men. Let's be honest about this. They beat us with 10 men, and they were the better side. So whilst I respect the comment, and I really would love that to be true, I've got to disagree. United's 1 game per week flatters your unevenly set up squad. Agree with you. Agree completely. Agree with you completely. I've never had a hair problem though. I fully expect Villa to get something against. Look, Villa are going to score. Simple as that. Villa are going to come to us, and they're going to score. They're going to score. Good evening from Kana. Hussein, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Alex Ferguson, United from Ukraine. I'm Arab, but I'm Indian. I don't have a favourite United player, as they're just employees of a foreign-owned soccer club. Look, I find it difficult. When I was a kid, absolutely, but nowadays I don't really have a favourite player. Look, my vested interest in this club now is more about the club. This is sort of what happens, right? Always happened to me as I've got older. I find myself I have more of an interest, particularly with these owners who are absolute scum. I find myself having more of an interest in how this club is run. I think it's I should be, not that I can have much of an impact. I think it's up to me and to other people to bring back the glory days, right? I'm not saying that I can do that. But if I can do that, or have some small part in trying to highlight what this club has become, and try to point out, look, the debt is crazy. We need to get these arseholes out. We need to improve the players. My interest in this club now is to make the club that it was when I was a kid. I feel so sorry for people of a certain age who've never experienced it, and I would love to have some sort of hand in just trying to move this club in back to a way that is as it was. Let's have a little look. See what we're going through here. I just want to know who bought that. My favourite player is Bruno, but it was the lick, but we got injured. Bodo are doing good things. They're number 9 and 10 a place to watch. I do agree with you. Arsenal champions 25 and 26. They should be. That's from his Chinese sweatshop in his basement. It's true, mate. It's true. It is true. It is true. It is. It is from the sweatshop. I thought it was chicken wings. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Spurs the championship. Quite. I mean, look. Oh God, can you imagine? Imagine fucking Arsenal fans, right? Imagine this. Imagine this. Arsenal win the league and Spurs. Right. This is my question. If there are any fans out there, as an Arsenal fan, right? What is better? Would you rather win the league than Spurs go down and they go down, or would you rather win a treble? So would you rather win a treble or win a league and in the same season Spurs are down into the championship? Liam says £1 billion stadium in the Champions League, Spurs will go bust. That is just the start. Exactly. Hello, sir. Glad to see you here again. Thank you, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well. Spurs, Wolves, Burnley. Really happy to see the improvement of United, and me too. United, my favourite club after Madrid. Legend. I will get through the chat. Some Millwall in the Premier League. Scott has even put in a super chat. Look, Scott is on it tonight. Scott really wants me to do this full time. Scott's going to try to fund this. Would you start Ahmad against Villa? And if so, who would you drop? I would drop. Who would I drop? Do you know what? I think in Bruno. I might give him Bruno a rest. It'd have to be one of. Look, it would have to be in Bruno or Cunha, right? I don't know who's going to make more of an impact in this game. I think Cunha is very, very frustrated. I would, you know what? On second thoughts, I would probably drop Cunha, and have Ahmad and in Bruno, because I think Bruno Fernandes, I think he has an impact on Cunha's game. Rambo says they don't need to be scared of us, but at the same time, these teams know this ain't the same team from last season. I'm manifesting a clean sheet. Look, mate, I'm loving the positivity. I'm loving the positivity. I'll get through the chat and then I will go on to the game. We can talk about the game. Need Osimhen, Simmons in the next window, and Mount and Shesko out. And look, Chen, interesting. Look, Shesko, look, Mason Mount is going absolutely nowhere. Mason Mount is sitting on a massive contract. Mason Mount, if we get into the Champions League, is going to get 25% more. Mason Mount is going nowhere. I think Shesko's fine. Osimhen is not coming. Osimhen is on something like 400k a week. United can't afford it. Simple as that, my friend. Simple as that, my friend. Palace nil AEK. Forest illusion as well. United. Spurs to get relegated and Liverpool to finish sixth. Shesko out is rage bait. A quadruple would be more impressive. Shesko out. Shesko needs to stay. It is a shame with Mason Mount. I really like Mason Mount. Got a lot of time for Mason Mount, but I don't count him as a player. Cunha would make for a better impact player. I've said that as well. I'm going to be fair. I've said that Cunha for me is the epitome of I think Cunha for me is the sort of squad player that I'd like. He is first team player. I think when you're looking at first teamers, I think you can improve. I think Cunha for me is a fantastic player, but Cunha for me is the level of a squad player that I want. I just think that you can improve on Cunha. Cunha's passing is highly inconsistent. Osimhen, Simmons free, Casemiro gone. I think we need a summer clear out and 20 goal a season striker. Look, we do, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Shasta could 100% be a United #1 scorer. I do agree with you. 20 goal striker. Look, I'm not saying. Look, Mark is in the house and says hello, Mark. Hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you. We need another striker. If we're going to get into the Champions League, we're going to need another striker. But we need centre midfielders more, and we don't have the money to it. So look, let's get into the game. We always go through the game because then we've got it down. We've spoken about how this team should play. We will see how they'll actually play. Exactly, like an Andy Cole, a Dwight York, a Tevez, Wanker. We need that sort of player. We do. So look, let's get into the game. Give me your comments on the game. So look, this is an absolute it's fucking Goldbridge in disguise. Should have been last strand. Big mistake. It's fucking Goldbridge in disguise. I fucking hate Mark Goldbridge. So look, guys, look, this is a huge game. Let's get into this game. This is an absolute massive game. Look, in the context of the season, when we are playing these teams around us, an Aston Villa, a Chelsea, a Liverpool, if we can get through those games, look, we've got one hell of a shot, right? We've got to win this game. We've got to win this game. We've got to win this game. So this is a 6-pointer, 100%. Look, I think after the last game, I think we've got a 50-50 chance. Look, if I was to give us a percentage, I would say 50%. I think it could swing. I don't think it's going to be a draw. I think, look, Villa know what they need to do. We know what we need to do. It's going to be a question of will. It's going to be a question of who wants it more. We will get top 4 and we will spend another 200-300 million next season and have a feeling that we love our new land. Look, Rambo, all I'm going to say to you is this. We have done the math. We have done the math on here. We have done the math. We're not going to spend 300 million next season. We're just not going to do it. I'll be stunned. I'll be stunned. We're not going to do it next season because we can't. We can't do it. Would we have the headroom? So there is to go back there quickly, right? We need to separate out these things for next season, right? Do we have the headroom to be able to spend 300 million? Possibly, right? Can we spend the money is another question. But also do not forget this. If we are following the UEFA squad cap rule, selling Rashford, selling Højlund has no impact. The money that we get for those players have no impact on what we can spend. The only thing of those sales that would impact are the wages. So even if we made £100 million from those sales, it doesn't get added into what we can spend. It just means we physically got the cash to pay for transfers. So, which is not the same thing. It sounds like the same thing, but it's not. If our headroom allows us to spend 200 million, right, because we have got to fall in line with the UEFA squad cap rule, that's a fact. If with everything it says we can only spend 200 million pounds, even if we made 100 million pounds from those players, you can't add that. You can't add that back into our amount of money. The only thing that we could do, as long as we recognise it as income potentially, but the one thing that is going to impact this club is the wages. Have a little look. Yeah, good night, Sky. How long will it take us to be a force? Look, it depends. It depends on how ambitious this club is. Look, if we earned 730 million and we reduced the wage bill, we could probably spend 300 million pounds, right? But there's a difference. Where do we get the money from? That's the thing. Where do we get the money from? Scott says, shampers, every shampers. What if Jimbo was to inject 300 million into the club? He'd have to. The question is how would he get it in? That sounds wrong. Jim would have to buy shares. Jim would have to, the way that they could do it is basically pay off transfers. Jim could inject it and pay off the debt. Otherwise, the only really way that he could get money into the club is sponsor the club. Scott JB is the guy who answers all the pub quiz questions while we lick our spillages off of the pub table. I love it. So Gomez from Wolves, cheap. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you completely. Plus, the rules are set to change again in a season or two. JB with a cigar. Who the fuck is Winston Churchill? I don't know about the core of the team. I don't know how Villa will come at us. Snog. Tim says Snog, marry, kill. Big Sam, Sean Dyche, or Pulis. I'd marry Sean Dyche because I tell you what, that voice. Yeah. I'd marry Sean Dyche because I'd never get bored of that voice. I would kill. See, I probably have to snog Big Sam because Big Sam, to be fair to him, he's not the worst looking bloke in the entire world, is he? And it means I'd have to kill. And the Pulis ball thing, I would probably have to kill him based on the fact that his football has seemed to come back. So, yeah, so I think he'd be for the chop. Big Sam, I'd have to snog him, and Sean Dyche, I'd have to marry him. We are United. We make money. That is what we do. Yeah, look, yes, but there are other things that we need to consider as well. It's not just about the money that you make; it's about what you spend as well. But don't forget, we've got £780 million that is due. We will refinance the debt, but we still got debt. Um, look, how much debt does City have? I think City are pretty much debt free, mate. I think. So look, let's switches in the house. So let's get quickly back into this game. So look, how are Aston Villa? So look, their current form. Look, very very up and down. Look, they're comfortably in third. Comfortably in third. You'd marry Sean Dyche. I hope you like worms. With look, I wouldn't mind. I could happily listen to Sean Dyche all day long. So look, it's fine. Look, they are tactically they're organised. They were comfortably third. They're now fourth. Look, has Europe had an impact on them? They were comfortably third, more than comfortably third. Now, at one point, pushing for the lose. Just I can't. Cracking me up. Hilarious. Look, I got asked the question. I'm never going to abstain from a question. I'm going to answer the question. So look, they're fourth. Their form is down. Look, I still think they have better squad depth than us. The train of thought has gone, Scott. So look, I still think that they will be very, very up for the game. I don't think tonight is going to impact them at all. I still think they've got a good squad depth. I think as a defensively, I think is where we can get at them. I do. I think Aston Villa, because they don't play a low block, because they are very on the front foot, we have a better starting 11. And I don't disagree with that at all. We have a better starting 11 on paper. It's just they fucking need to do something. Like, our starting players, are they better? Yes. But they need to start. They need to start. They need to kick on. And they need to start. Hot sheep are in your area. Message now. I love it. I love the chat. Absolute going office rocker. Rashford is doing good. Yes, he is. Hopefully we can, get rid of him. Look, are Aston Villa, the question for me is this: are Aston Villa going to be able to get up for this game? Are they going to look at the Geordies and fancy their chances? And I think they will. I think Aston Villa are going to come and play. Emery is a master. Emery is going to look at... And look, let's not forget here. Michael Carrick is not... And this is not a slight on him at all. He's not a specialist yet. Emery is a wily, seasoned coach. People forget that with Seville, he won the Europa League 4 times. I mean, he is a tactical, fantastic coach. Carrick isn't there yet. Emery, is he going to school him? He's schooled an Amorim. Is Carrick there to be taken? So look, that is my number one concern. But they do play a high defensive line, and this is where I think that we can get at them. I think that we will have chances. All we've got to do in this game is start quick. If we can match the intensity of a Villa, we can absolutely get... We do better against the better teams, and Aston Villa is one of the better teams this season. They play with that high line, and we absolutely love the counter. We're going to play counter. I don't even need to even try to convey what this team is going to do, because I know what our team is going to do. We are going to sit back and then we're going to hit them on the break. Emery will understand that what's Carrick going to do against an Aston Villa. I think United will win against Aston Villa and start it very quick to score the first goal. Look, if we can score first, we need to keep the tempo up. We need to keep the tempo up. So look, Aston Villa, their shape is 4-2-3-1. It does often come a 4-4-2, and then when attacking, it goes to a 2-3-5. They are very on the front foot. They press extremely high. They do transform. They're able to get back, and this is the whole point of this team. They're so well organized and well drilled. They are fit. Look, they also play in two compact back. They play compact back. I can't even talk. They play two compact back. I don't know if I can say it. They play two compact banks of four. Try to say that if you're pissed. Dino is in the house. Look, they play transitionally very fast. They will look that midfield. Anana in there is going to absolutely have a field day. Again, the pivot, because Dino is in the house. The pivot concerns me. The way the midfield plays in that bank of four and the midfield, they're going to be very hard to play through. Now, the thing is, we're not very good at playing through the middle. So I don't actually think in this game that playing through the middle of the park is going to be an issue for us. I think that we're going to try to get the ball wide. Villa are very good in the transition. They are one of the best transitional teams in the league. They sit compact, they win the ball, and they look for passes. They look for runners in. We don't like that. That's the one thing that we don't like with those left backs that are with Harry Maguire, who will play the fullback positions. They're going to look to exploit those. I say this every game. I've been saying this pretty much every single game since the start of the season. Our backs concern me. They will look to target those every single game, and they're going to look to win that ball up high. They will stay compact. They will look to play like a high line. They will look to win. They will look to win the ball up high, and then they will look to press, compact press, get the ball. They'll just consistently attack. They will just consistently attack and get the ball into the box. They play, as I've said, they are very aggressive. They're very coordinated in the offside. The goalkeeper wise, as we all know, he's a sweeper keeper. Very risky on his part. So let's see. In central positions, they do like to overload. Their wingers do tend to cut inside, so they do have inverted wingers with the fullbacks providing that width. Also, the midfielders do rotate with the strikers, so there's always somebody available. They're just so good in that transition. They're so good at being able to adjust the tactics on the fly, and this is why I think they're such a dangerous team, because we are counter-attack FC. You know what you're going to get with this side. Aston Villa Sometimes it works, sometimes not. They are so good at rotating their plays. They're very compact. They play in the centre of the park. They play with width. I think we're going to struggle. I think we're going to struggle. Look, we need to be careful of a Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers is going to be, look, he is the danger man. I think he is going to be such a. I think it's going to be the battle of a Rogers versus a Bruno. Very, very different players. Very, very different players. But the younger man, younger legs. Like he's going to be up for it. He's going to be up for this game completely. So they've got Anana, very, very defensive, can pass. Look, they are going to be very, very good. They are going. They will be compact, and look, we just know. We know. We've played them already. Emery is a look. He is one of the best coaches in this league. He's one of the best coaches in this league of setting up a team for pretty much most teams. Carrick needs to do something. Carrick needs to do something in this game, because trying to set up, play on the counter, and let these players try to dictate the game is going to backfire. Carrick needs. I am hoping that Carrick's explanation, that the tactics that he's got and he puts into these players in a simplistic way, we need to start to see this, because what I see in this team is basically counter-attack FC. I need to see more from this game. I want to see a slightly different tweak. I want to see Holland. I want to see Holland tactically switch up, because they are coming up against a coach who is no joke. So look, Villa are going to come into this game knowing that they want their third place back, knowing that this is a 6-pointer. They're going to come to us. They're going to be compact. They will play a very, very high line in those two banks of four. They will get back. They'll get forward. They are very. They're fantastic on the wide. Look, just an all-round fantastic team. And look, can they maintain it? What can we do? What can we do to beat a Villa? We need to play pacey. Look, we are going to play counter. And if we're going to play this style, and Rambo, you're right, we have to take advantage of that high line. There's going to be those big gaps in the midfield between, like, Harry Maguire might struggle in this game because Aston Villa are going to come out with a lot of pace. We need to be quick. We need to be in that transition. We need to be so quick. We need Shesko to win those balls. We need Shesko must play. Shesko absolutely has to play. He just 100%. Bruno Fernandes, I don't think this is going to be a good game for him. I think he's going to, and look, I really hope I'm wrong. Bruno Fernandes in this game is not going to get space. Bruno Fernandes is not going to get any space. So we need to see it. We need to see something. So look, how can we beat Aston Villa? Yes, we can. But we need to come out fast. We need to come out and we need to hit them quick, and we need to hit them fast. But Aston Villa, they will score. They will score. And look, I hope I am absolutely incorrect as well. What do I think the score is going to be? What do I think the score is going to be? And look, I will go through the chats first. and then I'll tell you what I think the score is going to be. What are we saying? I will go back to the chat. So look, I see Villa trying to make us exhausted and scoring a goal. Sneaking one. Dino having to announce yourself as in the house. Paul said, I wish we get beaten such that Carrick he doesn't get the job. We need a manager as well as a tactician. Agree with you. If we score first, we will win a high score against Villa, and we'll see them drop to the floor, says Andrew. One thing is McGinn is back fit, and I still believe that we'll win and keep a clean sheet. Fun fact about JB, he doesn't lean, he balances on the D axis. It's true. Morgan to pick up an injury in training. So we're playing at home, then I see United win in an attack on Villa. If he starts Shesko and him and Bruno on their A game, we can win. Evans and Giggs to be in the Evans and Giggs buy in the next window. Have a look. Carrick beat him when Emery had his Real. Come on, we got this. Yeah, but that was a player though, wasn't it? We take advantage of that high line. Villa, a funny team, but this season, ain't we all? I agree with you completely. You see Emery and Spartak, or like what you need to see. Bruno with 2 assists. I do hope you're wrong, JB. Us Bruno to break the assists record. We need to come up fast and hold your horses, JB. Yeah. We have to execute our plan. There should be a plan B too. We don't have a plan B. I think we'll win 2-0. I think 3-1. Nice channel, by the way. Thank you, buddy. Look, this channel is only as good as the people on it. So thank you, JB. I think you're going to be wrong about Bruno. I think he will shine. I really hope so. I really look. I can only go by what I've seen, right? Spicy. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm so wrong, and you guys are right. Because look, I want to win this game. I want him to step up. As an Arsenal fan, what do you think about this year's? I think this year's Arsenal team is it a vintage team? No. When I think about teams and I compare the teams, I compare them now to the City, to the Pep and the Klopp teams, because those are the teams in the recent times that are the best teams. I don't think that Arsenal are anywhere near those teams. It's not Arsenal's fault. If Arsenal win the league this season, they're champions and they deserve to win the league. I don't think it's a particularly good league this season, but that shouldn't take away from a league title, right? Because if Arsenal win the league this season, they are the best team, right? For me, I don't think Arsenal would compete with those Liverpool and those Klopp and Pep teams, and that's okay. Is this the best Arsenal team? No, but they're still a good team. Villa have struggled away tonight. Have a little look. I support United. Says Burger Boy. I'm a Newcastle fan. I was at United game. We needed them points. We had a very poor season in the league. Look, the Geordies deserved that win. They deserved. They won 100%. Now we all of it. Yeah, exactly, mate. Beta Max says a mad accent. Yep. If Arsenal beat City in the league, then I'll say Arsenal are going to win the league. A draw might be enough. Do you think my new running, however, Arsenal won the Premier League? I think Arsenal have won the Premier League. White says, yes, I agree. We're not playing well, but we win matches, and that's the important thing. Agreed. Agreed with you. Look, let's get to the end of the season. This is not a vintage season. Look, it doesn't matter if Arsenal win the league. It doesn't matter. Look, if Arsenal win a league, then they are the best team. They are. Do you think they've won the Premier League? Yes, I needed. United got a chance to capture. No, mate, they are winning the league, my friend. They are. Arsenal will win the league. I agree. I think you get top 5 finish. I'd rather Arsenal win it than City. So look, do I think that we're going to win? I'm a United fan. Do you think I was going to win the Premier League? Arsenal. Arsenal are going to win the Premier League. Do I think that we're going to win? Now, look, I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to give you my reasons why I think that we're going to win a league. Win a league. I'm going to tell you the reason why I think we're going to win this game. Number one, I'm not giving these players an excuse. I'm not going to give these players an excuse. And I should tell you for why I think that we're going to win is because, number one, Villa are played today. I don't care what anybody says, having a weekend a bit off should make you fight a bit harder, right? We're now coming to the business end of this season. This club and these players need the Champions League. These players know if they get into the Champions League, they get 25% more. Fact. I don't care what motivates these players today. I don't care if these players need a pat on the back, if they need a hug and a kiss, whatever it takes. Let's get to the end of the season. My opinion is made on these players. It's not going to change. But right here and now, I don't care what gets them through the end of the season. If it's cash, fine. I also think, as much as I'm not sold on a Carrick, this doesn't mean that I want him to get the job. What I saw after the Geordie game, I think when he went up to the fans and he blanked those players, I think he means business. I think he means business. So I think Carrick is going to get into these players. And look, I'm going to give Bruno Fernandes, and this is the last time I'm going to do it. Okay? So look, I give everybody a fair crack of the whip. Bruno Fernandes, he's had a slightly better half of this season. He has been a better player. I'm expecting a performance from Bruno Fernandes. I'm expecting him and these players to get up for this game. I'm expecting these players to start fast. There should be no excuses in this team. I think that we're going to win this game. I think Aston Villa look, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a very, very close game. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to this team because I want to win this game. I want to get into the Champions League. And look, whether I like these players or not, I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. I say this time and time again, and they let me down time. But look, I think the last game was a kick up the arse. I think Carrick knows what to do. I think Carrick is going to get into these players, and I think that this game suits Bruno Fernandes. I'm still of the opinion that I still think he maybe gets marked out of this game a bit. But look, I'm going to give him a fair crack of the whip, because I think he does better when we're on the counter and he gets more space. I think he might get some space. So I think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. Look, Aston Villa are prone to getting beat. And when I say beat, I mean in like the last couple of games, they are very prone to being tired. I think this game is going to be very, very much like a Crystal Palace game. And what I mean is that I think if we can get into the second half ahead, I think we beat them in the second half, because I think they're going to be tired. Šeško. So I think this game is going to be a very, very much like a Crystal Palace game. I think that Aston Villa are going to be tired. I think second half they're going to be absolutely shattered, and I think we'll get joy. So I think as long as we have a good first half, as long as we start well, if we can score an early goal, as long as we go into the second half, I believe with a lead or at least a draw, I think we win it in the second half. So look, I think we will win. I think we'll just about win. I think it'll be a 2-1. A clean sheet would be nice. I don't see a clean sheet. I don't think he will park the bus, mate. I don't think he will. I think the system that he plays, he's so compact. He can play. He's compact. He plays a very, very high line, but they get back quickly. So I don't think he's going to park the bus. I think he'll play a mid to a high line. I think where he'll play a low block is if say they get to about 70 minutes and they're winning the game, I think then yes. But I think they need to win the game. So I think we win it. I do. I think we win it. I think it's going to be. Look, I think it could be a 2-1 to them. I think it could be a 2-1 to us. I think we're going to sneak it. I do. I've just got a feeling that we're going to win it. So look, I think it's a win. And look, guys, on that note, I'm going to go. I will be back tomorrow. I think it'll be the press conference tomorrow, so I will do the presser tomorrow. Hopefully, Larmans will get a clean sheet as well, because I think he's a fantastic keeper. And look, guys, fantastic show. Look, I always appreciate the support, guys. Absolute legends of this channel. Big shout out to Scott tonight for giving away the memberships. I will look how to do that, and I will be giving away some of the memberships as well. I will look to do that. I promise I will look into it, and I will be giving some out as well. But look, guys, fantastic show. Look, guys, thank you for the support. It never gets boring, never gets old. Thanking you guys for the support. You know, look, without you guys, this channel doesn't exist. I don't get to do this. I feel very, very fortunate to have you guys here and for you guys to give support to the channel. So look, I will be back tomorrow. I'll probably be back tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow morning at some point, or when the presser is out, and then probably Saturday. I won't be doing a show tomorrow night. I'll do one during the day tomorrow. I'll be back on Saturday. Sunday, I won't be doing a watch along on Sunday. I will be doing a match reaction on a Sunday night. I will be watching a match as well. So look, we can talk about a match. I will do, as Scott suggested, what sometimes I'll do is I will put a show up there, so you guys can just get into the chat and you can talk amongst yourselves. So look, let's see like how it was. But look, guys, legends. So look, thank you. You know, look, we've just gone over 40,000 subscribers. You know, look, it's just ridiculous. The channel gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was all thanks to you guys. So look, legends again. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. I will be back tomorrow. And look, guys, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.